Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Rachael Lee and I'm a local realtor here in Jacksonville, Florida. And today we are going to talk about what does it actually cost to buy a house here in Jacksonville. So we're going to go over all of the hidden costs that are associated with closing, and this is going to be your ultimate guide to closing costs. When you are purchasing a home and you make it to the closing table through all of the inspections and negotiations, appraisal, all of that good stuff, and you finally sit down at the closing table, there will be closing costs that will need to be paid by you as the buyer. We're going to break these down into a few different categories, and the first one is going to be loan-related costs. So of course, these will only apply to you if you are getting a loan or a mortgage on your property. If you're paying cash, you can skip right through to the next one. First loan-related cost is going to be your origination fee. This is charged by the lender, and it's basically their fee for processing your loan. Usually this is going to be about 1% of the loan price. They may charge you a fee of $30 or $40 to check your credit as well up front. They'll also charge you an appraisal fee. Usually this is between $400 and $800. Also in this category is going to be the optional discount points that you can purchase at closing. Now these discount points are going to be used to buy down your loan rate. We see a lot of this right now, especially in the market that we're in here in Jacksonville. Many of my most recent closings have actually negotiated this into the contract up front to have the seller purchase some discount points, which brings your rate down, helping you afford more house. Now our second category here is going to be title and escrow fees. Now these fees are essential to make sure that the property's ownership is legally transferred to you at closing. So for your title search and title insurance, usually it's going to be between $1,000 and $2,000. Now these will protect you from future ownership disputes. So if anyone crawls out of the woodwork and claims to own the house or have stake in the house that you just purchased, this will protect you in that way and make sure that you legally own the house. Next is going to be the escrow fee. So this is going to be charged by the escrow company to manage the closing process. Usually this is between $400 and $800. Our third category is going to be those good old government fees. First, you're going to have your recording fees. This is so that you are actually recording the deed and the mortgage with the county. Usually it's going to be between $50 and $100. So for the next one, I'm going to make you work a bit. It's going to be your documentary stamp tax. This is going to be 70 cents per $100 of purchase price. So for example, if you're buying a $300,000 home, the tax would be about $2,100. So next is going to be some prepaid costs. These are going to be upfront payments for ongoing property-related expenses, homeowners insurance, property taxes, and mortgage insurance. Now, a lot of these prepaid costs will thankfully be handled by your mortgage company, so you won't have to worry about them too much, but they're still worth touching on so that you know kind of what's going on behind the scenes. Now, the homeowner's insurance cost is going to vary quite a bit depending on what area of Jacksonville that you're buying a house in. Now, I will say homeowner's insurance in Florida is a lot more expensive than many other states, and it is something that's kind of a work in progress here. A lot of major companies actually pulled out of this state. Now that we are seeing some of those companies come back in, it's leaving room for a little bit more competition, and it is lightening things a bit, but for the most part, we have been on quite the upward trajectory when it comes to homeowner's insurance. So you'll definitely want to get a quote for this very early on in the process, ideally before you're out of your inspection period window. This information is going to help you make a much better, well-rounded decision based on what your actual monthly payment is going to look like on that particular home. Now, your property taxes will be prorated based on the closing date and what time of the year that you're closing. So essentially, buyers are prepaying taxes for the portion of the year that they're going to own the home. So the mortgage insurance is usually only applicable if you put less than 20% down at the closing table. A lot of people don't even know this is an option to put less than 20% down, but absolutely you could buy a house with nothing down, 3.5% down, 5%, 10%, whatever it is that you qualify for and are comfortable with. Our next category is going to be some little miscellaneous costs that are involved. You'll need to pay for a home inspection during your inspection period. Usually this costs between $700 and maybe over $1,000. It really depends on what type of company that you want to go with. Make sure you do a lot of research on the company's reputation, or lean on your real estate agent or trusted advisor in your area to help you choose someone that has a great reputation and you know you can trust. You'll also have a survey fee, usually between $500 and $600 as well. This one's going to help confirm all of the property line boundaries to make sure you know where your property lines are and what it is that you're actually buying. If you're moving into a community with a homeowners association, you will also be required to prorate those costs and pay those at closing as well. This is something that you can ask about during your inspection period so that you have that number in mind already. So another one for us to add here in closing costs is a newer one now that we've kind of adjusted the way that we do business after the NAR lawsuit. And that is buyer's agent commissions. So historically, as a buyer, usually the seller was the one covering the buyer's agent commission. We still are seeing a lot of that in our market here, and it is still, I would say, commonplace for the seller to be paying the buyer's agent commission. However, this is another thing you'll want to ask about upfront or write into your offer, so that way it's something that you don't have to worry about at the closing table. Otherwise, this could also add to your closing costs, needing to pay your buyer's agent their commission if the seller is not offering to. Now, your last big closing cost is going to be your down payment, of course. And this is going to be, like I said, typically between 3.5% and 20%. This is going to vary a heavy amount on what it is that you qualify for, who you choose as your lender, and all of those great things. So again, make sure that you're shopping around for the best rate and the best loan program that suits you. All in all, they say that it's safe to assume that you're going to be paying between 2 and 5% of the purchase price in closing costs. There are so many factors that can change or skew this number, but we work with a lot of great lenders that are able to help you with that upfront. So the day that we put in our offer, we already have an idea of exactly what closing costs are going to look like, as well as what your monthly payment should look like as well. As always, with every step of the home buying process, it's so important to have a team behind you that understands the information that needs to be talked about and looked over up front so that you know exactly what you're getting yourself into and there's no surprises along the way. So that's going to wrap up our general overview guide of closing costs for closing on a house in Jacksonville, Florida. If you have any questions or want to run through some specific numbers, our contact information will be here on the screen as well as down below in the description. We love to answer any questions that you have about Jacksonville or relocating to Jacksonville, and we love to help make this process as seamless and stress-free as it possibly can be. Thanks for joining us here today, and we will see you in the next video.